Good day. I'm Roy Frampton, and I'm standing here in the Gettysburg National Military Park, National Cemetery, and specifically I'm standing here within the Minnesota plot of the National Cemetery. And I wanted to start here at this memorial. This is the Minnesota urn in honor of the 1st Minnesota Regiment. This is the oldest memorial on the battlefield, the oldest marker on the battlefield, erected in 1867. I start here because the story of the man I'm going to talk about is a part of the 1st Minnesota. And I probably don't have to go into a whole lot of detail about the action of the 1st Minnesota. It's the senior regiment in the Army of the Potomac. Late afternoon of the second day, the front line on the Emmitsburg Road is collapsing. Sickles' 3rd Corps is in retreat back to Cemetery Hill, and there's a hole in the Union line on Cemetery Ridge. You gotta plug that hole. You gotta stop the Confederate assault that's about ready to pierce through Cemetery Ridge. And the 1st Minnesota is the only regiment there. 262 men. They're going to make a charge, almost like a suicide charge, into the approaching Confederates. They will plug that hole literally with their lives. They stopped the Confederate attack. They saved the day. 262 men went in. 47 men came back unscathed. One of the highest losses of any regiment in the Union Army in the Battle of Gettysburg, in only a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. All the officers are pretty much down, except for one. Captain Nathan Messick. Capt. He's really the highest ranking officer now of the regiment. And it will be Captain Messick that will lead the 1st Minnesota on the afternoon of the 3rd day of July. I have moved from the Minnesota urn here to row A, grave number 4. This is the grave of Captain Nathan Messick. Messick, as I said earlier, the 1st Minnesota is the senior regiment in the Army of the Potomac. They enlisted right after the firing of Fort Sumner in 1861. Messick is going to enlist in the 1st Minnesota on April 29th, 1861, as a lieutenant. First action of the 1st Minnesota is First Bull Run. And in that action, Messick will be promoted on the field as a captain for his bravery. During the battle, the 1st Minnesota is under heavy fire. The flag is just riddled. One account says there's 16 holes in the regimental flag. Captain Messick, at that time Lieutenant Messick, is going to rip the flag off of the staff, wrap the flag around his body to protect the flag. And for that, he is promoted to captain. And then we come to Gettysburg. Well, actually, let's come several months before Gettysburg. January of 1863. The assistant surgeon of the 1st Minnesota has requested from Messick, actually not requested, he has ordered Messick to resign his commission. And that is because of illness. The assistant surgeon says that your life is threatened, you have chronic hepatitis, at least that's what the account says, and that if you do not resign and go back home, you're going to die. So Messick has a choice. Does he leave his command, his comrades? Does he go back home to his wife? He's from Faribault, Minnesota. His wife's name is Amanda. They have 4 small daughters. The oldest, I believe, is 13. The youngest is 3. Or does he stay with his command, or does he go back home? What a decision. Well, he refuses to resign, but he will accept a 30-day furlough to go back home. So in February of 1863, Messick is back home with his wife and his children. But at the end of that furlough, he comes back. Duty to his men was foremost in his mind. And even though he was still very weak, he was still sick, he comes back with the regiment. And then we come to Gettysburg. The 3rd of July, Messick is the commander of the regiment. He's leading the small group of men. And on the 3rd day of July, of course, is Pickett's charge. Now, we don't know when Messick is killed. He might have been killed in the actual attack. or he might have been killed in the preliminary artillery bombardment. Probably with the artillery bombardment, because Messick is killed instantly by a piece of cannon shell that hits him in his right eye, passes through his brain, and out the back of his head. Yes, as I said, killing him instantly. His comrades will carry his body to the rear. They will wrap his body up. They will dig a grave. They will put green boughs over top of it and put towels around his face, and they give him an honorable burial. This is one of my heroes because, as I said, Messick didn't have to be here. He could have been back home. But his duty to his men came first and foremost. Captain Nathan Messick. As a footnote, though, his wife Amanda would never remarry. She stays loyal to her vow to her husband. She dies on March 7th, 1904. She is buried in Oakwood Cemetery in Red Wing, Minnesota. Interesting thing about her gravesite, she only has one small headstone. And written on that stone, it's just one word. And it says, Mother. There are casualties of the battle that are buried here. But don't forget the casualties that were not wearing blue or gray. Don't forget the casualties of this battle and of this war that were wearing calico, the widows, and especially the children. I am Roy Frampton.